We are witnessing one of the biggest cover-ups we've ever seen in our lives. And I won't say any more than that.
Nigel Farage just revealed secrets that Labour doesn't want you to know. After enjoying a private celebration party with Trump, Farage is back to expose Starmer and his cronies. But what inside information does he have after meeting with Trump and Elon Musk? It has everything to do with the United Kingdom and its future. Things like Trump's plans for America and Britain, Musk's hidden interest in this country, and the reality of the Southport incident. Farage doesn't hold back with the truth, including the fact that he's in Trump's inner circle. After all, he was the only British person invited to Trump's party.
On the morning of polling day, and I stood outside a polling station in Pennsylvania, just talking to voters as they were coming in and out. And the common observation was there are more Trump signs on lawns this time than we saw in 2020 or we saw in 2016. Why is that? I asked. Well, we're not afraid to say we're Donald Trump supporters anymore. That was very interesting. Suddenly, he wasn't quite the devil that perhaps people thought he was or he'd been made out to be.
Farage made this shocking discovery on his trip to America, and it completely changes everything. People, especially the newer generation, are abandoning the extreme liberal views and the support for Trump is rising. Farage reveals that the extent of Trump's victory is understated. The sheer support Trump has gotten will completely change the game for the next decade. All of this had been made possible because of a secret weapon that Trump used to gain popularity, and it's more interesting than you might think.
He's probably going to finish up with 312 electoral college votes, and all he needed was 270 to win. So it isn't just a win, it's a very big win. And he's taken the Senate, and it looks like he'll take the lower house as well. This is a crushing, comprehensive victory for the Republicans over Kamala Harris.
In Farage's own words, it is a crushing and comprehensive victory, one that was significantly boosted by Trump's secret weapon. This means that Trump has full control over what happens in America, and by extension, the rest of the world for this election term. Naturally, people like Starmer and his European buddies are seething over it. In fact, Trump's right-hand man, Elon Musk, was battling the entire European Union a few months ago. Now, his son, Baron Trump, is helping him out in unexpected ways.
He is credited with convincing his father that for this election, they should do podcasts. And that's what Trump did. Podcast after podcast after podcast. Many of those podcasts aimed at young voters, many of them aimed in many ways at young male voters. You know, I noticed on the night there were lots of boxers, lots of UFC fighters, a lot of alpha male stuff going on. And I think young Baron actually played quite a significant role in the victory of his father.
Baron Trump ended up becoming Trump's secret weapon. This undoubtedly had a huge impact on Trump's victory, and that raises the question, will Farage be using similar ways to gain more popularity? Not that he needs it, considering that Starmer's support is plummeting and Reform is already getting a lot of support, but either way, Trump is looking more than happy to be buddy-buddy with the UK. Starmer and the Labour gang are the only problem here. Trump was so confident in his victory that, according to Farage, he was completely nonchalant.
And it was just a remarkable scene. You know, there were a few hundred people in the ballroom, drinks, food, and sitting in the middle of it all was Donald Trump with Elon Musk next to him, and people whooping and hollering, and Trump just sitting there eating an ice cream, completely nonchalant, as if, you know, well, whatever happens, happens.
That is the behavior of a confident leader. It seems that Trump knew he'd win with ease because there was just no chance the liberal nonsense would be tolerated anymore. People are fed up with this nonsense, and things aren't looking good for Starmer and his Labour gang either. They're at risk of being forced to resign if they make any more blunders, which seems very likely. Starmer can either fix the relationship with Trump and get the United Kingdom a huge advantage in the global economy, or he can keep being petty the way he is with Elon Musk lately. Your call, Sir Keir, just be prepared for the consequences.
But the question for us is Donald Trump's election good news for Britain? Now, I think it is, because he's instinctively pro-British. I think it is because when he was president, he was more than happy to do a trade deal with us. The problem was our Conservative government hadn't got Brexit done. We weren't in a position to be able to do so. But given that Trump is saying 10% tariffs on anything that comes in from anywhere else in the world, that I think presents a big dilemma to Keir Starmer's government.
Whatever happens in the next few months will tell us if Starmer is actually smart enough to handle things properly or not. This could be potentially huge for our economy, but I wouldn't get too excited about it. The reason is that Trump looks for a very specific quality in people before trusting them. And frankly, Starmer just isn't that kind of a man. In fact, we all know how two-tier Keir is. That leaves us with one glaring question. Even if Starmer gets his act right, will Trump be willing to forgive things?
You and I both know Donald Trump well. He was the author of The Art of the Deal. So we know that he says these things that give him room to negotiate. He's not going to show you his cards. He's not going to show you where he's going to wind up. He is going to go to what some may say is an extreme policy, but he's going to come back to common sense, and it gives him room to negotiate. And so I have great faith and trust in him to be the architect of the art of the deal, whether it's with the UK or other places globally.
A businessman through and through. There's a reason why even Putin likes and respects Trump. The difference between the competence of Trump and Starmer is night and day, and it only widens every passing moment. Moreover, Trump might just become our greatest ally if things go as Farage has planned. That all depends on this one quality that all potential allies of Trump must possess. Farage has that quality, but will Starmer manage to pass the test?
And he finished up with a lot of people around him who were never supporters. He has got power of patronage over at least 3,000 positions. And they've been working on this for over a year. This is going to be very, very different.
Yeah.
And he views loyalty as the most important thing. Now, some will say it's fealty, but it's loyalty. And by the way, I'm the same. I mean, I'd rather have someone work for me who's slightly less intelligent than somebody else if they're trustworthy and true.
Trump wants loyalty. That is the ultimate quality that all of his allies must possess. If Starmer and his Labour government manage to ally with him, our economy will boom. We're talking free trade deals with no tariffs on our exports and imports. This would be huge for our struggling economy, but will Rachel Reeves be able to see that? The evidence points to a very disappointing no.
Are remarkable. This is the most pro-British American president in decades.
Yeah.
And it gives us, with Brexit, a remarkable opportunity. Economically,
Yeah.
in everything else. We can be in a position to negotiate quickly with a new Trump regime, and he's on our side.
Think about it. Now that we are no longer a part of the European Union, we are no longer bound by their stagnant growth policies. This could be an absolute game changer if the United Kingdom partners up with Trump. We're talking about a potential economic revolution. However, things are looking bleak for two reasons. One, Starmer and Rachel Reeves absolutely hate Elon Musk, who is a very close ally of Trump. Second, Britain is in shambles due to all the two-tier justice system under Keir Starmer, and that is something Trump despises. According to Farage, things are so bad, especially with the Southport incident, that it's making the entire justice system look like a joke.
I've been completely silenced. I dared, the day after Southport, to do a video to say, can we please know who this man is? Was he known to the authorities? Why do I feel we're not being told the truth? The level of demonisation I came under for that from both front benches was astonishing. From media commentators, demonisation on a level that I'd never even experienced. Now I'm told by the Speaker of the House of Commons, I can't ask questions about it in the House of Commons. Parliamentary privilege is out of the window.
Farage was the only one who dared to not only speak the truth, but the advocate for our rights to know the truth as well. What happened? He was completely silenced by people all around him. Didn't matter if they were the supposed Conservatives or the Labour Party. Even media commentators were on this crusade against Nigel Farage for supposedly committed an unforgivable sin. What's worse is, it's not just Nigel Farage that they tried to silence. There is something shady going on in the courtroom as well. Why won't they even release the identity of the person who carried out the attacks?
That the court case, which is due in January, every effort is being made to defer it. Right? Yeah, this is what's going on. We are witnessing one of the biggest cover-ups we've ever seen in our lives. And I won't say any more than that. I genuinely would never wish to be in contempt of court. I have respect for our legal system. It's not perfect, but it's a damn sight better than most of the rest of the world.
They're trying to push all of this under the rug as if nothing happened. But why would the courts go to that extent? Trying to throw out a case of this much importance is unheard of in British history, and it's certainly very strange to witness right now. The official narrative still remains that it was not a terrorist incident, but the evidence suggests otherwise.
The public should be told the truth about the individual. That does not prejudice the case that is about to come up. And much of the rioting that happened in Southport and elsewhere was with an absence of people being told the truth. So I won't go any further than that, of course, other than to say I will be proved right.
This bombshell came out of nowhere. Farage is confident that he will be proven right and that there is something incredibly wrong going on behind the scenes. Is he wrong? Because the way things are looking, they won't even reveal the identity of the criminal. There's no law in the world, let alone Britain, that prohibits that. It is our fundamental right to know the truth, and the fact that they're trying everything they can to hide it is deeply concerning. It almost seems like something straight out of an authoritarian regime's playbook.
I mean, already the new charges, the latest charges, the ricin, and that he had Al-Qaeda material in his home.
A non-terrorist incident, you understand? They're still telling us that. A non-terrorist incident. Do you believe them?
I guess we'll have to wait and see on that.
There you are, the
that
wise answer, given where we are.
Is this not strange? The two-tier justice system is at peak display right now. Starmer was quick to condemn the protests as far-right riots, but now he's been really silent about the details of the case. If things turn out to be true, the way Farage is claiming them to be, it might be completely over for Starmer. His credibility will be ruined beyond repair.
I think Starmer's instincts on all of this are deeply authoritarian. But you know, you can only kick the can so far down the road.
Yeah.
When the truth comes out about this, I believe, his reputation as Prime Minister will take a dent of enormous proportions.
This might be the final straw that breaks the Labour Party's back. They're completely finished if the truth is revealed. Maybe that's why they're trying their absolute best to hide the facts and punish anyone who dares to raise any questions. Sadly for them, their go-to tactic of labeling everyone who disagrees with them as an alt-right fascist is not working anymore. People aren't buying it.
That was an opinion, but look, you know, this labeling of everybody as far right doesn't work anymore. Doesn't work anymore. It's hollow. It's hollow. But we saw all of his instincts, and his regime of fear has worked. It has shut people up. People are really scared. People that I've spoken to in and around Southport, relatives of those who've been involved in some way, are all too scared to speak in public.
Yeah.
The best way to stop someone from speaking the truth is to discredit them. That's what Labour's been doing for quite a while. They did the exact thing with Farage as well, and now, as the truth is slowly coming out, they're scared. Perhaps they owe all of us, especially Farage, an apology for lying to our faces. Starmer tries to defend himself by saying that there's no such thing as two-tier policing, but Farage disagrees and he has solid proof.
He says there's no such thing as two-tier policing. Even Priti Patel says there's no such thing as two-tier policing. Is he wrong?
It's two-tier. I mean, what's happened to the Manchester attackers? Back in July, before Southport, we get violent yobbery in Manchester Airport. Police are violently attacked. A policewoman has her nose broken.
The Manchester attackers are just one of many cases. It was a violent incident that the police lost control of. Things spiraled out of hand rather quickly, and as a result, many were left injured. The police had to use force to regain control, and it was not pretty. And guess what happened when they regained control? The attackers were caught, but a prime example of two-tier justice took place simply because they weren't white.
But because the assailants, have a certain skin colour and a certain religion, we are now, in the middle of November, the CPS have laid no charges. Compare that to what you mentioned a moment ago about the immediacy of the arrest and sentencing after Southport. If that's not two-tier policing, and two-tier justice under two-tier care, I don't know what is.
Can you believe that? The entire case was thrown out. This is the Britain we live in, where free speech is stifled and criminals are encouraged. Is it not a complete mockery of justice for entire cases to be thrown out over race and ethnicity? What's worse is that you will be punished if you dare to speak out against it. In fact, that is one of the biggest problems Starmer has with Elon Musk. Speaking of whom, Farage met him and learned something incredible. There's a reason why Musk is so interested in British politics.
Musk was remarkably normal.
Really?
Yeah, remarkably normal, affable, personable, amusing, opinionated but passionate. And I asked him, why is it that you seem to have this extraordinary interest in our little group of islands?
Yeah.
On the other side, I didn't quite put it like that, but you know what I mean. And yeah, it was like there's an emotional attachment.
How does it look when the world's richest man, who has an incredible connection to Britain, is hated by the Prime Minister simply because he won't bow down to Labour's nonsense? Truly a pathetic sight to behold. And what's Labour's response been? They try to claim that Musk has no idea what he's talking about, but Farage disproves that claim with another bombshell.
And the level of knowledge he had, unbelievable. On everything, farmers, what was proposed in the budget, capital gains, more broadly, Southport, what really happened, and why have you got the blame, Nigel? And all, no, his level of knowledge was incredible, and he's clearly got one of the quickest brains that's ever been built. It just is amazing.
One of the smartest men on the planet has nuanced takes about Britain and knows about our politics? Gosh, who would have guessed? Certainly not Starmer or his cronies, because they're hell-bent on hating him. Needless to say, Farage is rather fond of Musk and has incredible respect for him. A few months back, when Musk was going toe-to-toe against the entire European Union, Farage was the only one from England to support Musk, and he was absolutely right to do so.
I have to say, Alex, I completely believe Elon Musk on this. You see, it's a feature of all undemocratic regimes that they seek to control and ultimately censor the media, and they don't like any criticism of what they do. It's power without accountability. Now, I tried for decades to get the British public to understand that the real bosses in Brussels are not people like you and me that were elected to the European Parliament. It's the European commissioners that you can't vote for, you can't remove.
The European Union has slowly become a regime the way they are cracking down on free speech, but what problem do they have with Elon Musk? Well, it's a problem that turned into a millions of dollars worth of lawsuit, and Musk did not back down. Farage explains that there was a very specific reason why they hated Musk and why he was absolutely right.
And thank goodness for Elon Musk, he's a hero because he's lifted the lid in full public view on how these people operate.
Now, what the EU would say is, since he brought in the monetization of the blue tick, for example, which once upon a time was awarded to people for being able to say, yeah, you are the real Nigel Farage, you are the real Alex Phillips, that since anyone can buy a blue tick, that this is deceiving people. I wonder, and I ask myself, if this is because what they wanted was truth and power and communication and the narrative to only be set by a privileged minority.
Farage considers Musk a hero, and he's not wrong. What happened was that Musk revealed the biased censorship on social media platforms that was being pushed by these governments and the European Union as a whole. If you challenged the popular narrative, you were silenced. You won't believe this, but they really don't want you to have a voice. Because if you did, like many other people, Joe Biden and his senile shenanigans would not have lasted long.
No, and you mentioned Hunter Biden. I mean, frankly, the whole 2020 presidential election that took place in America, happened without debate on the activities of Hunter Biden, his relationship with an oil and gas company in Ukraine, the potential links to his father, who of course had been vice president during the time when he got a highly paid job despite having zero qualifications.
So much of the conversation surrounding Biden was silenced, and Starmer wants similar protocols around the Southport incident, which is why he has pushed for more censorship multiple times. Really, cops would show up to your door if you said something mean on Twitter. Of course, Musk called Starmer out on this, and that shattered Starmer's fragile ego. Of course, that's typical lefty behavior, and our precious Sir Keir is quite the snowflake.
Of course it is, yeah. I mean, anything somebody else doesn't like, if they're on the liberal left, is automatically branded as being hateful, as being disinformation, and kind of written off as if it's false. And this is the problem we're having. And it goes right through the schools and right through life, actually, that having free, open debate, allowing individuals the power of critical thinking is being clamped down upon virtually.
So we're not allowed to say anything at all. Just stay silent out of fear that you might hurt someone's feelings. Meanwhile, the entire world goes downhill because nobody has the courage to say anything. Thankfully, Musk put an end to that and removed all censorship from Twitter. Not only that, he exposed the methods by which they silenced your voice, and it was incredibly nasty. This is one of the reasons why Farage has such respect for Musk, and rightfully so. Man's a champion for free speech. For this support alone, they tried to accuse Farage of ridiculous things that don't even make sense.
During the election campaign, my videos across the platforms have been viewed 39 billion times, and that I was miles ahead of the other political leaders in terms of social media usage, and particularly among younger people. And of course, that then changes to a debate. There must have been Russian bots working for Farage. Was he working in conjunction with them? So again, we have to be careful that whilst we accept those influences, it's an argument that can be used to damn those who are actually rather effective.
Starmer probably envies Farage because people actually consider him a leader. Meanwhile, it's Starmer's own actions and broken promises that have caused so many people to hate him. And it makes clear sense. Farage dropped this absolute bombshell that not only have they been trying to silence the truth, but that only Musk has dared to fight against them for so long. Sadly, much of this goes unreported because, of course, they wouldn't want the world to know the truth.
Have a message for Elon Musk as he goes up against Brussels in this fight for truth.
Elon, you've done more to expose the horrendous anti-democratic nature of the European Union in just one post on X than I managed in 20 years, so well done you.
Musk achieved what Farage has been trying to do for a while, and it's incredible. There is a glimmer of hope for the future with these bombshells. If people like Trump, Farage and Musk end up joining hands and the truth about the Southport incident comes out, Britain might be saved. We might actually see the end of Starmer's government much sooner than expected. However, the problem of censorship remains. They would never let this message to spread as it threatens their control. This is where you can be a champion of free speech too. Like this video and subscribe to the channel to make sure the whole world finds the truth.